Just 1 day ago, Mitchell de Jong stood on top of the mountain. He said, I won this event, and I take the challenge to Martin Kroenke. Today, though, we bring back the McLaren MP430. We come back to the magical land of the rising sun at Suzuka. But today, it's the Majors Series. It is at Suzuka for a Japanese Grand Prix. Arguably one of the shortest on the calendar in terms of length, but my goodness, one of the most difficult events to get right here on iRacing Live, brought to you by RaceSpotTV. Jake Sperry, we hope to see Cam Walsh at some stage later on in the event, but this is going to be a very, very difficult race for all those concerned. Championship implications on the line with 3 rounds to go. Very similar to that iRacing World Championship. After this, a Bathurst 500 and, of course, the Myrtle Beach 400 to be dealing with as well. Track conditions, then, we will look at in just a moment, but the standings are up on your screen. And for Pete Harrod, it is a case of fight against a certain Mr. Fernando Antoli, who is not here today for this race. That championship so tight. Drivers like Eric Mickey wanting to get up through, who has oval victories to his name. Timu Toika has been knocking around after a few good events as well. And in the team's championship, you have seen so tight. It has been all season long. The likes of, shall we say, Grizzly Motorsport, who have always been consistent at their finishes. They've been in that great scrap with Bombshell, the likes of Eric Mickey and Kurt Crum, who have done a stellar job of putting themselves in the mix. But today is going to be a different challenge today. This is going to be where the specialists come out of the woodwork. We have 5 very strong specialists who currently top the practice times. Josh Thompson, Ricardo Orozco, and Eric Andre, Victor Preto, and Manu Domingo. But let's get track conditions then up on your screen. It's a hot one here today. 41 degrees on the track. It's an afternoon conditions. Winds blowing in from the southwest at 10 kilometers an hour. It's going to be a tough race today. One fast repair, though, that could be the saving grace for a lot of drivers. And with a highly strong vehicle like this, it could certainly be one which a lot of people will be having to use in this field. But for those who are just joining us, welcome and have a very good afternoon following our coverage here on RaceSpotTV. It's not all that we are going to have for us here today, because after this, as well as the Sports Car Open that's going on the iRacing Esports Network, we have the Classic IndyCar Series from the Silverstone Historic Circuit, the double historic circuit, some may argue, which will be a joy to behold. You can join Jack Stiles for that one, as well as the McLaren Shadow Project and the racing action that will go on there in the GT circles. Can Marcus Jensen continue to extend his lead? Well, there's only one way to find out, and that's watching that one on the iRacing Esports Network. But for the moment, at least, it seems that drivers are doing their final preparation. Starts oh so important when it comes to a series like this, because it's arguably one of the toughest cars to start. It can bog down, it can spin up the rear wheels, a spin could happen from anywhere in the pack, and we've seen how famous starts here at this wonderful circuit happen. I mean, you can look just back to yesterday and Martin Kroenke, 2 tires on the grass. What about Senna and Prost and the big melee that happened here? Also, Fernando Alonso's crash in the Ferrari. One crash that did cost him, ultimately, a world title against a certain Sebastian Vettel in a Red Bull. But with that, practice is over. You've had your time to set your laps. Now it's time to get to racing action. The grid, in just about 10 seconds time, is going to be as followed for this round of the European Majors Series here on RaceSpotTV. Manu Domingo will start on pole position with Ricardo Orozco alongside, making it an all-positive sim racing front row. And Eric Andre starts from third with Victor Prieto in fourth, with Josh Thompson in fifth. It's Teemu Toika starting from sixth with Kurt Crum seventh and Marcus Niskanen eighth. Championship leader Pete Harrod starts in ninth with Joshua Wolf rounding out the top 10. Ray Griffioen and Andre Silsanz are on row 6, with row 7 being occupied by Andre Rajkovic and Diego Jimenez. Gabriel Roos, Travis Henderson, Eric Mickey, and David H. Baker round out the 18 cars then for today's race. And what an important race this will prove to be for these drivers. For those at the front, it may be another chance at securing themselves a bit of practice. For Ricardo Orozco, for example, this is a chance to showcase what he was capable at Suzuka 1 day ago. Just extra bit of fun. Green flag flies, though. One driver did not take to the start. And let's get underway. Domingo has got an absolutely shocking start off of the front of the grid. This opens up the door then for Orozco to dive down to the inside. And Eric Andre not close enough as they rattle in to the left-hander as 17 took to the starting grid. No dramas then through the field as one vehicle, I believe that was Victor Prieto, has not taken to the starting grid and will not take part in this event. But through the S's section, they go for the first time, chasing Ricardo Orozco as they head to the Degners. For the very first time, it seems that all is calm. Got a couple of little scraps going on as David H. Baker is thinking about going right down the inside at the Degners. And well, he's going to get two for his troubles because Eric Mickey will lose one out to Gabriel Roos as well in the back of the pack. Little looks then from Josh Thompson in the Radicals Online 6 sideways machine as it looks to try and get past Eric Andre and is unable to. Andre now turns onto an offense here, trying to pass Manu Domingo, but can't do it into Spoon. Maybe pushing slightly wide there. You've got to be careful about that. And of course, a full 53-lap race, especially with hot tyres. We saw how in the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series, the tyres fell away substantially. This is firmly a 2-stop race, maybe even a 3-stop race if you are not too careful. So I'm here, Jake Sperry. Got special comments as well we can bring in from time to time from Paul Smith as well. Round goes Travis Henderson. He's done so well to save that one, though. He loses it with the rears lit up at the Casio Triangle. That there for the Grizzly Motorsports machine is a scary one. And through 130R, hitting the brakes go slightly colder as well, so more chance of locking up. He missed his point there, Paul, by probably about 20 meters or so, and then had a panic and a spin.
Yeah, it was unfortunate of what happened there, but he's able to keep it out the wall. Has kept going here, so that's really crucial for him. Looking at the front, Ricardo Orozco 1 second ahead of Manu Domingo on Redo, and Eric Andre and Josh Thompson not that far behind that second place man. Then you've got a bit of a queue forming up. Joshua Wolf, in fact, look how close he is there. 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th and 11th all together in a queue here.
They are all together in a queue and they are just stacking up and waiting as Toika sees Josh Wolf and his Grizzly car behind, desperately trying to make a move, but not into that hairpin Kobayashi corner, as Jonathan Simon loves to say. And a big late relunge, but that is running off the circuit and a little bit more from Josh Wolf then, but he should be able to pick a run up off the exit from that, though, if he's brave enough and careful enough with Teemu Toika. You can't afford to extend track limits too much in a race like this, as an Eric Andre runs off wide through the left-hander of 130R, manages to gather it up before Josh Thompson gets a chance to make the move, but DRS will be in activation this lap. The drag reduction system hard to the pit wall goes an Eric Andre, forcing Thompson to go the long way around, and Thompson will decide to go the long way around as Domingo runs wide in front of them. Now they encroach on each other through 3 and 4, the S's section. Fantastic battle between them, nose to nose almost, as they almost make contact, and Thompson still fighting back. There's a bump between the two of them. This is sensational between them, and Thompson finally gets the move done. That is a fantastic pass from Josh Thompson. I'm sorry, hands down, Paul, you will not find a better overtake. Yes, there was contact between them, but they left everything in that move.
Let's get a replay up of that then, and you already see that Thompson's alongside, still alongside. There's Eric Andre little bump there between wheel-to-wheel face there, and then Eric had to get out of it a little bit heading into Dunlop, and Thompson makes that one count.
He does. Half spin I've just seen from Pete Harrod, the championship leader. That's dropped him 2 positions coming out of the hairpin. So a big worry there for Pete Harrod as he lights up the rears, going through the hairpin, trying to put the power down early. You've got to be patient here, because if you don't put that power down, or if you put that too early, that car is just going to spin up with so much torque. And now Harrod's under pressure from Andrej Rajkovic and Gabriel Roos, who will be trying to charge through the field. But for the moment, at least, it seems that they will not be close enough right now. Battle, though, on for 6th position here. Markus Niskanen versus Tasnauki, Teemu Toika, as they go on. Toika, though, getting himself a good draft, using the DRS, moving to the right-hand side, and very much making the position. That was a pretty comfortable move, all things considered, in the end, as Toika moves himself up then into that 6th place. And already you can see how he's pulling away from Niskanen in the early goings of the lap. But ultimately, we've seen a few spins, but nothing truly dramatic here, Paul, off of the start. So I think what we can say about this event is that drivers are trying to just keep it on the island, keep it consistent, because they know that this is a long race and that there is a lot of opportunities for mistakes to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. This circuit, it punishes you if you do make a mistake, because the walls, it's not like some tracks where you've got miles upon miles of tarmac runoff everywhere. This one, the walls are relatively close together. There's only a few spots that have those bits of tarmac runoff, as Eric Andre once again is finding out at Spoon Curve. But it's one that will punish you and will punish you hard. That's why it's called in this series. These drivers do have the option of the fast repair here, so they only get one though, so they've got to be careful and not use it for something a little trivial like a bent wing.
Well, Ray Griffoen will not be happy, because he has been caught up in an incident, and that was one with Joshua Wolf. So Wolf had a big spin heading through the Dunlop curve, took a toe with the damage that he had, and will have to get back out again. Innocent bystander, you'd feel Ray Griffoen is, or was, and that's pretty much going to signal that his day, I think he said, you know what, I'm all but done here in this situation. Down to 16 drivers then around the circuit. So for the moment at least, not what people want to see. Contact in the early goings. Josh Wolf actually stayed out in that one. Battle for P2 though, having a very good challenge here. There's Manu Domingo, who's been holding P2 very nicely, but there's Thompson and Andre, both of which who are probably prime candidates, I'd say, at this stage, Paul, to be moving on to the Road to Pro and looking to challenge for an iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series seat. If you want to prove yourself, you've got to stay with Ricardo Orozco, who is probably mid-pack of the pile when you look at the racing acumen they have. And I think it's going to be a little bit of a struggle at the moment for Josh Thompson et al. To try and make that happen. Domingo, though, under pressure.
Yeah, Thompson is putting Domingo under that pressure. Now, I know there's a big switch there. We're on board with Josh at the moment as he's heading up the hill once again towards 130R. One thing that I've spoken to Josh Thompson, and he said that he's wanting to really prove some of the doubters wrong about him in the Road to Pro Series, and he's using this event as a way of getting a bit of extra practice in for this car. So definitely he's trying to make a name for himself and really trying to make it known. He's got the DRS open here. The car in front will be using the ERS, that energy recovery system, to try and just counter that. But Thompson round the outside of turn number 1 into turn 2. And we're going to see another one. Oh, contact between the two of them. And Thompson's off.
Oh, and Thompson will not be happy about that, because he was on that outside line. I don't think he tracked in too much. So just looking at it, Domingo heads himself through the second part. He gets loose, and then Domingo was always going to wash out in the second half of that corner. Thompson gave him a car's width at every given opportunity, but he takes the tap and loses the position. And these are the close quarter margins that you need to look at when you've got races like these. They can so very easily switch on a dime, and you can see just how tough this can be when contact is made. So not good there for Josh Thompson as he drops one position here in this event back behind Eric Andre. But we do have some good scraps lower down in the field. How about this one? Eric Mickey, the winner of the World 600 and the Daytona 500 against David H. Baker in the number 33 Grizzly Motorsports machine. This is a constructors battle at the moment. Grizzly versus Bombshell, and this is certainly not a Grizzly car, and it's not a Bombshell car either. It's just a case of who can manage it more, and it has seemingly been Bombshell with Kurt Crum in 5th position, Marcus Niskanen currently in 7th, and Diego Jimenez in 8th. But David H. Baker, he needs to find something, and right now Eric Mickey is harassing the rear as they make the run to 130R.
Yeah, Mickey's putting the pressure on, although he's run wide and had to get out the front there, going for the 130R. That's the disadvantage of running so closely to the car in front. And David H. Baker able to just stay ahead, but this is where you could see Mickey get that little bit of extra speed with the DRS. He's got the DRS as well, down to a 7, but he's not close enough. He's not going to make the move for the time being.
No, he's not. And I was just looking at Eric Andre through the S's section. He was right there with Manu Domingo, but the dirty air effect certainly hurting as they now make their way through. But just look at the lap times that they are doing at the moment. We're 7 laps into a stint. They were doing 35.7s as such at the front of the field. All of a sudden, a 36.3 for an Eric Andre, a 36.8 for Manu Domingo, a 37.4 for Josh Thompson. Of course, that was with the contact. But look through 200 right at Eric Andre, trying to angle to make a move at Spoon, diving down to the inside. More contact between the two. Domingo runs out wide, and now he's going to try and get back up and under, trying to steal a move, but not quite there. Now trying to use the draft and maybe any spare ERS that's available. Defensive goes in Eric Andre to 130R, knows he's safe. Thompson now waiting in the wings. This is some fantastic battling between them as Domingo goes to the outside at the triangle, trying to make it happen. Can he get up under the inside? No, he can't do the Takuma Sato move, and he will have to just sit and wait as Thompson, big, and around he goes, and proving your doubters wrong. A spin like that will not be helping. That vehicle snapped on him thanks to the dirty air pull.
Yeah, let's get a replay of that one. That was a big one. You can see how close he is to the 2 cars in front, and he's trying to get into the power here. Gets into the power, gives it the full beans, and then a little bit too much, hits the wall. So he's going to have some damage to that car, and in fact he's going to take a tour back to the pits. So disaster for Josh Thompson, but he does have that free repair if he needs it, as Travis Henderson has used a free repair and is back up and running.
Nope.
Also Ray Griffion as well is back up and running, but Thompson, he's done. He said that's it for me.
Yeah, he said that's done, and that's not what he'd be wanting. Just he wanted 53 laps of being running, and he's just not had that. He's got 7 and then an incident, so that will hurt, and he will be out of this event. But Ricardo Orozco leads the gap 7 seconds at the front of the field, waltzing away as he did a year ago in the iRacing Grand Prix series. So having a good scrap is also the P4 battle as well. Kurt Crum under pressure from Tesnelki, Timu Toika in the Bushfink colours as he wants to get past Crum very, very swiftly, but has been there, Paul, for maybe the last couple of laps or so. Has been hoping maybe that Kurt Crum will make a mistake. He hasn't, so now he's got to try and find a way to do a move on track. Otherwise, he's relying on a pit stop strategy. Yeah,
absolutely. Do you go for the undercut here? It's one thing we didn't really, well, I mean, we touched on it at the start of the race, but, well, I'll make that point in a second because he's got the DRS open, he's going for it, it's Toika.
He is around the outside, he tries a lot braver on the brakes, he's left him in the dust with that sort of move. That reminds you of Raikkonen and Fisichella, that sort of move that he was able to do. Kurt Crum was left standing at the wayside going, how can you hold it with that much grip? I had you covered. But Kurt Crum is now behind and down into 5th position. And yeah, we were talking about strategy here with the hot track conditions. We talked about 30 degrees yesterday being it's either a 1-stop or a 2-stop. I could even premise that this could be a Max Del Orco style of race, Paul, where it's either a 2-stop or a 3-stop.
Yeah, just having a look at the replay of that overtake around the outside, carried the speed through one. You can actually carry the speed through one. It's two that's the one that you have to get it really pulled up for. But yeah, great move there from Toika. But strategy is going to be key around here. The hot conditions is going to affect it as well. Toika's from wide. But what have you seen?
No, I've seen something else. I've seen Ricardo Roscoe somewhere make a big mistake, and he spun. He spun at the Dunlop curve. He's retained the lead, but my goodness, a little bit of a slide. He couldn't catch it. He brings it around with a fantastic 360, keeps himself going in the lead, but that is how you wipe a good 6 seconds off of your lead. Now gap down to 1.1 seconds, and that from Ricardo Roscoe is a mistake. He's heated up the tyres, but it's a big warning now for this race, Paul.
Yeah, it is a good 360 no-scope from him there to go all the way around and get it back up and running again. But he's really brought that gap down. As I say, let's have a look at that lap time difference there, just to show how much that spin has lost him. Almost 6 seconds on that last lap. So, and Eric Andre, he could see that target in front, and he's thinking, well, if he's made a mistake on his own, if I put a bit of pressure on, he's more likely to make another mistake.
And Race Clutch, one of those teams that you see in the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series. 2 drivers they have in there, Balázs Remenyik, the Hungarian, and the American Stephen Michaels. So, and Eric Andre has a little bit of help by their backing to push forward. Manu Domingo, though, actually has left positive sim racing. That's something I didn't quite catch up. And Gabriel Roos has run into issues.
Yeah, half spin at the second of the Dagners there. He was right up behind Harrod then. Got onto the power a little bit too harsh, half spun, well caught with that one, but it's dropped him back about 2 seconds now.
Oh, it's a snap. It's a massive snap for Gabriel Roos, and he has to be careful about those sorts of applications of the power. You almost have to be gentle. You're sort of going, okay, do you want to go this much, or do you want to put the power down a little bit more? And when the car says no, it firmly says no and throws a tantrum like a toddler, Paul.
Yeah, it does, and especially with these conditions as well. Got to take that into account as well. Superheat the surface of these tyres, and you're going to make life very difficult for yourself. Markus Niskanen, by the way, has been gaining on Kurt Krum in front of him, almost, in fact, over a second faster. Pete Harrod making a move on the exit of the Casio Triangle as well. He's up to 7th place now, ahead of Diego Jimenez. So that's a change of position further down your order as well.
It is, and the championship leader gains a bit of help thanks to the small error there that was made by Diego Jimenez. He started to lose the rear. He gathered it up, but lost the position, and crucially did not have DRS to fight Pete Harrod back with, as Harrod had the DRS. But Niskanen, you are absolutely right. Now looking to battle his teammate Kurt Krum in this scrap for 5th position out on track. 3-stop window comes into play around lap 14 here. You're looking at a 2-stop window around lap 17. If you're brave enough to do a 1-stop, and I tell you what, a lot of drivers weren't very brave to do a 1-stop earlier on in their event on the iRacing World Championship, you would have to go to around lap 23, lap 24 to see anything like that happen. But for the moment, Niskanen close, but not able to find much here to make a move. Probably will have to wait for the Casio Triangle. Keep an eye on Eric Mickey as well here in 11th position. The battle for the final spot inside the top 10. Andrei Rajkovic under pressure here, Paul.
Yeah, Rajkovic under pressure, so too David H. Baker is under pressure as well, further down in 13th. So got championship implications going on in this race, but for 10th place at the moment, and up towards 130R once again. And lap 12 of this event, these drivers giving us a good show so far. As we've got a car that's running wide, that's Josh Wolf running wide. He's got a lot of damage on his car from that earlier incident. He hasn't pit, as you mentioned earlier, Jake, but he's carrying on. But Eric Mickey now, with that DRS up and that rear wing flap wide open, but he's not close enough to make any move here.
No, he was very much covered thanks to the or shall we say the ERS deployment of a certain Mr. Andrei Rajkovic. Now, setup is something that's very, very telling in these vehicles too, because this has very much been a high downforce track for a lot of people, but some who are incredibly daring may have decided today to go for a medium downforce setup, knowing that 130R and the like in the front stretch is going to be a big overtaking opportunity, Paul.
Yeah, they could well have. It's a tricky track to set up for because you've got quite a few high-speed corners, but you've also got those low-speed corners as well to contend with, things like the Degners or even the hairpin here that we're just looking at the David H. Baker battle, because Joshua Wolf has fallen behind these two here in this one, although Slissen's not the best exit out of the hairpin there, and drops behind Joshua Wolf as Eric Mickey now down the inside of Spoon Curve.
Oh, Eric Mickey, that is a very nice move on Andre Rajkovic, and just looking at that one as I just didn't quite catch it. Rajkovic almost got scared there, just ran wide, and that was just a nice little gift there for Mickey. Thank you, I will take that to the bank and cash it. So Mickey will take that one. Here's Gabriel Roos, though, trying to get around the outside of Diego Jimenez, and he's gonna get the move done. And that was a good move there, because Diego Jimenez did not have anything to fight back with. A lot of help with the ERS and the DRS in full activation, and away they went right now. Gap at the front is extending, though, thanks to Ricardo Orozco here. It's now up to 2.2 seconds plus out on track. Andre, half a second slower on that last lap, and it is telling now that Orozco has taken a few laps here just to settle himself back down again, the Brazilian, and he will look to go back out there and race all over again and try and build that gap up again.
Interesting to see David H. Baker was involved in that battle with Wolf and Slicens. He's made a pit stop here, and it is a planned pit stop, 4.5 seconds for him there. So first one to have a little bit of a jump there as Kurt Crump and Niskanen change positions at Spoon. So plenty going on here, but could we see the undercut come into effect for David H. Baker?
I think David H. Baker is firmly on a 3-stop strategy, pitting this early, so he will look to try and make sure that he uses all the life of the tyres available, as Crum lost the position by running wide at the Spoon Curve, and you've got to be careful about running wide. Also running wide actually was Teemu Toike. He locked the brakes into the Casio triangle, just slightly overran it, and then positions went away. So Teemu Toike now losing a few positions of his own. Any more takers then down on pit lane? The answer to that is no, as round goes Josh Wolf once more, this time at the triangle, which has been a tricky triangle. Not to say that Pocono hasn't been already this season in the championship. Lost it on entry, and then a Romain Grosjean spin.
Yeah, just have a look at that on replay, then you can see the front wing damage there, and back end just locks up the rears. Around he goes, keeps out the wall though, so that's crucial. Gets back up and running, but as I say, down in 13th. In fact, making a pit stop here is decided. Maybe that damage has affected him a little bit too much here.
It certainly has been, so he will come down and convert to a 3-stop strategy out and away then, with a longer stop due to the change of the front wing around 9 seconds. So keep an eye on David H. Baker's times around the vehicles that he was fighting with. Look out for the likes of Eric Mickey, maybe even Diego Jimenez, to see if he can gain any sort of noticeable advantage in the latter stages of this event. Expect those at the front, though, to probably commit to a 2-stop strategy. Their pit window will not open for a few laps left. And Paul,
Joshua Wolf, I can actually tell you, elected to use his fast repair there, so it was only a 4-second pit stop, but that's it now. His safety net has gone for this race, so he can't afford to get any more serious damage on that car, or else his race will be over.
And he's already had 2 spins. And let's not also forget here, Paul, that Josh Wolf was driving Sports Car Open for Talk Freak Racing. So he's had to have a massive change in terms of what he's been driving. So, oh my word.
It's all happening now. Now, this could be because of the heat, the temperature of today, because it is a hot track, as we've been mentioning. And that could be starting to come into play here with these tyres.
Yeah, tyres going off a lot quicker than they would have been in the World Championship, and even then 3 vehicles struggled. Niskanen straight around 90 degrees, kept it out the barriers, but now he'll be driving almost on ice at this stage as he loses the position to Diego Jimenez, but he does have a buffer to Eric Mickey, so that says to me, okay, that's the signal. I've got to come down in and make a stop. My tyres are going away, and I need to do something about it. David H. Baker does a 1:37.7 on his opening lap, and crucially, that puts him tied on times with Niskanen on his last lap, but he's had a spin. He's going about as quick as Gabriel Roos, Pete Harrod, and Kurt Crum. Pete Harrod, all of a sudden, has found Kurt Crum, and I think Kurt Crum's had his own mistake.
Yeah, he must have done. We'll stick with this.
Oh, he did.
Was it down?
That was the Degners.
Oh, it was down at Degners. Wow, that was a bit further back. And Eric Andre's making a pit stop here in this one. So drivers seeing all the mistakes that are happening here and thinking that maybe a three-stop strategy might be the best way to do things. Crum comes into pit road then to make a pit stop. Pete Harrod carries on, and Eric Andre at the end of the pit lane. 3.9 seconds is his pit stop. So drivers starting to think, do you know what? We're going to need a lot more fresh rubber in this race to be able to make it to the end.
Top 8 standings then up on your screen will change a lot as this pit stop window comes in. Ricardo Orozco now needs to be careful because lap 17 is around the 2-stop window. I think it's an aggressive 2 at this stage for an Eric Andre. It may be a perfect 2-stop strategy for Orozco, but it's around a 1.5 seconds that you will lose on your rivals at this stage of the event as side by side, and Eric Andre goes with Diego Jimenez, who has no tyre life to fight back way through the Dunlop curve. And that is how, Paul, you get past drivers who do not have the capability on the tyres to stay with you.
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen how those fresh tyres can make a difference. Just looking at those lap times, David H. Baker 38.7 that last lap, so he's not really gained the time that he would have expected. Joshua Wolf behind him with a 36.8. So Wolf is going to be one to watch as he comes through as, your leader coming onto pit road.
Ricardo Orozco, pedestrian onto the lane for University Isabel I. Positive sim racing as he will go right down to the penultimate box to make his pit stop. Does anybody else follow him in? Manu Domingo, the pole sitter, comes in. Toika, though, crucially, is staying out on circuit. He will go and set another lap, as will Pete Harrod, who feels okay on the tyres, as here comes an Eric Andre, who's using all of the rubber to his advantage. Out and away then comes Ricardo Orozco coming from his stop. Pete Harrod will crucially pull off side by side and will not go through. So Orozco has crucially got the jump on the championship leader, Pete Harrod. But more importantly than that, there is space between himself and an Eric Andre.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that was important for Orozco to stay ahead of Pete Harrod there, because, okay, he would have made it through relatively quickly on those fresh tyres, but Harrod would have held him up that little bit. We'll get the gaps between the leaders very shortly once Pete Harrod and Toika make their pit stops. Although those two could be going that little bit longer, and with them being in and around there at the moment, the difference between a 3-stop and a 2-stop, we'll have to wait and see how that pans out with these conditions. But an Eric Andre now putting Pete Harrod under intense pressure. Those fresh tyres around the outside, he's going to get the position before spin curve.
That's a lovely move from an Eric Andre. Pete Harrod had nothing to fight back with, and if that's not a signal to come down onto the lane, that's a signal to come down onto the lane. Also, scrap going on right now is Gabriel Roos versus Kurt Crum at the hairpin, both of which are capturing Andres Slissans just in front. So Slissans, who hasn't pitted, Kurt Crum and Gabriel Roos, who both pitted on the last lap, both want to make their way through as quickly as they can. They know that they've just got to stay a little bit patient as Teemu Toika pits from the race lead, gives it back to Ricardo Orozco.
But crucial, look at that lead gap now, 2.2 seconds. It was up to 6 seconds at one point for Orozco, even after that spin that he had at the Dunlop curve. So he is really under pressure. Pete Harrod, Marcus Niskanen, both onto pit road as well. So quite a few drivers decided, you know what, now's the time to make the pits after they've seen what's happening with those few drivers who've stayed out. But one driver who has stayed out, by the way, Slissans, is staying out there on those old tyres. 18 laps now as that stint.
And he's just lost 2 positions, one to Gabriel Roos and one to Kurt Crum. So maybe He's desperately trying to make a one-stop strategy work here today. The longer he goes, he needs to go about 5 laps, maybe even 6, 7 if he wants to make that strategy work. Because, of course, the tyre life gets a little bit easier once the fuel is burned off a bit more. And one of the things about these cars, no refueling. So if you have underfueled that car, Paul, we saw it with the 5-time world champion Gregor Hutu, you would have to fuel save, and fuel save a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. You'd have to do a little bit of fuel conservation if you don't fuel it fully. You're going to be looking at your numbers, looking at some of the laps it's giving you. A few drivers, because they may be inexperienced with the car, will maybe overfilled the car slightly just to give them that bit of a confidence, bit of fuel. Some of the more experienced drivers, as Ricardo Orozco, fastest lap, 34.5. Out the bag there on those fresher tyres. That shows what those new tyres are doing for you. But as I was saying, there's more experienced drivers in these cars. They'll have pushed that fuel to the limit here, and if they're not too careful, they'll have to do that little bit of fuel saving.
Boom! There comes the time of a 34.5, half a second quicker than an Eric Andre, 0.2 of a second quicker than Manu Domingo. Side by side, Kurt Crum, Gabriel Roos, the battle for 5th position as Roos now trying to unlock a way down the inside, unable. Tyre life is exactly equal, so this is a pure battle on pace between the two as the 323 dances through the S's section, but struggles again with that dirty air, which really does hurt in these sorts of vehicles. You can't really attack the first sector in terms of overtaking. You're trying to navigate it as best as you can to pull it back at different stages of the track.
Yeah, it's where your strengths are, where your weaknesses are. Let's see how it goes with this one, but definitely these drivers, they're pushing it to the limit, and in fact over the limit there in the hairpin, and that's going to allow Pete Harrod to gain on these two. A little bit of contact with Harrod there. That's a disaster for Gabriel Roos. We'll bring it up on replay in a second there, but Roos there, let's have a look at that again. On the roll bar, on the brakes, gets into the back, just the slightest of touches there, gets around, tries to get on the power, but he's on the marbles, spins it round, and there's contact with Harrod. So how much damage is there to Pete Harrod's car?
Oh, well, I hope not
Roos
much.
has got a lot of damage, by the way.
Roos is going to be in trouble. We know that much already, but Harrod does have a bent front wing on the front right, so that's going to be affecting the Team Mad car, and that's going to be not too helpful to a championship leader, Pete Harrod, who can't afford to have too many poor results, and will try and now negotiate with that damage heading towards the second stop then of the day, and for some the last, for others not at this stage. So Gabriel Roos will now slowly make his way back, crabbing himself back.
Struggling, isn't look at how bad that is through 130R.
I know, 150 kilometers an hour bad, so certainly struggling, but I know what he wants to do. He wants to use the fast repair here, Paul, to get himself back in the race.
Well, this is it. If he's not used this fast repair yet, this is one of the beauties of this championship. It gives them the opportunity. They're not out of the race straight away. They can get onto pit road, which is what he's doing now, and he'll get to use that fast repair. We've got a close battle now between Diego Jimenez and Marcus Niskanen here.
We do. This is the battle for 7th position. Diego Jimenez currently scored as being +7 today. Marcus Niskanen down the inside is now scored as +1 because Jimenez there said, you know what? No, I've missed my braking point slightly. You're down the inside and you're through into that position. So Jimenez, just looking at his times, he is on, I believe, a fresh rubber. He did come down in and make a stop, but really not comfortable compared to Niskanen. Difference is 2 seconds a lap, and that is just down to sheer consistency from Diego Jimenez of not getting involved in incidents.
Yeah, we just look at the biggest movers and shakers in your field. Jimenez 7 positions, David H. Baker at 9 positions, Eric Licky up 7 positions as well. So some really big movers there on the side there, and well, as you can see, Josh Thompson's the biggest loser of the race. Ray Griffin still going in this race, by the way, but down the last year runners is now in 16th place. But these two, they've been pushing hard, and Niskanen now, he's got past Jimenez and he's away. Lap younger tyres for Niskanen here, so Jimenez's tyres won't be that bad compared to Marcus's.
No, they certainly won't. And in fact, Ray Griffin does gain a position because Travis Henderson came down to make a pit stop, and Griffin has made his way through. So now it's Travis Henderson in 16th position and last, shall we say, at the moment. We're talking about this as well here, Paul. 2 splits. So obviously wanting to get this as close as possible to real life, which would be a 20-car grid, they have said, all right, we'll allot this amount of space. There's 36 of you, so we can have a split of 18 and 18, and it will look like an F1 race.
Yeah, absolutely. It's good to see them doing it like this. I think 36 cars would have been a bit much to be driving Formula 1 cars around here. Although that would have been a spectacle, that's for sure. Eric Mickey, by the way, on his latest charge against David H. Baker going in towards Spoon Curve. He's not quite close enough, but Baker, the back end was just getting a little loose there, but able to carry on as they go up towards 130R once again.
Well, here comes Eric Mickey as a winner, a 2-time winner this season, has been an oval specialist, a NASCAR specialist here in the European splits. Nobody has been able to get close to what he's been able to do on the brakes into the right-left chicane of the Casio Triangle for this big, long right-hander down the hill, which always tests the tyre life, and you can see how Mickey is so much more confident on the application of the power. Baker does not have a chance, and it doesn't matter if you've got a Bacon dozens opportunities, you take them every time with that one down the inside into turn number 1. Eric Mickey makes his way through.
Yeah, nice simple move there for him. Use the DRS there, the drag reduction system. That's that little flap on the rear wing, and that gets you moving on through, gives you a little bit of extra speed with that less aerodynamic drag. We've got a battle just starting to form for 5th place at the moment. Kurt Crum and Pete Harrod. We heard we saw Crum getting involved earlier on with that little incident out at the hairpin. Harrod, even with the damage on his front wing, has been gaining on Crum.
He has. It was half a second that last time by, and that brought the gap down to 1.3, and it looks significantly less than that at the moment. For Kurt Crum, his car looks fine from all intents and purposes at the moment, charging towards 130R, which is ironically a left-handed corner, as you go at about 300 kilometers an hour for them as they get on the brakes. Right-left chicane flick before they put the power back down and start lap 23 of this event. We're heading towards halfway in the next 5 laps or so, but you can look immediately defensive there from Kurt Crum. I'm not sure that he needed to do that because Pete Harrod was never going to close that down. A little Indiana Jones and the defender of the lost corner, Paul.
And Harrod was getting up to just short of 200 miles an hour with the DRS open there. So he wasn't close enough to make any move there. So yeah, I don't understand why Crum did that. Maybe just trying to break that little bit of the slipstream. But to be honest, it's a task. You just end up making yourself go back, move about the track more and warming up the tyres a bit. So yeah, not ideal really when they're just that little bit too far behind you. But in through the Degners again, Harrod is going to be feeling the effects of the dirty air of the car in front, and with that damage, that slight damage to the front wing that he's got as well, that'll just exacerbate that feeling. Give it a bit
and
more
not only that, Paul, it's the fact that the
Mickey.
damage to the... Oh, look at Eric Mickey. Yes, you're absolutely right at the number 4 because Mickey is under pressure here, and that is Andrei Rajkovic, so there's been a mistake for Eric Mickey, and that one has come through Dunlop, and that was a half spin, and that was so similar to the Paschalis Churchish spin that happened just a day ago that almost took out Gregor Hutu from the race. So Eric Mickey having a big moment. David H. Baker slides on through, does a better job than Gregor Hutu did, and well, 1 position drop for Mickey. It happens, click, just like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I was about to say, hey, Mickey, you're so fine, but he's not fine after that little spin there. His tyres will be complaining about it as well. We've still got that battle at the front for 5th and 6th place at the moment. Again, it was going defensive with Kurt Crum. Harrod, though, not quite close enough yet again, and I do think that damage to the front wing is just affecting him here. And, well, we're, 6 laps on these tyres compared to 8 for Crum. Harrod has got a bit of a while yet to go before he can make a pit stop to get repairs done to that front wing.
Instead of "Hey Mickey," it was "Oh Mickey, what a pity you don't understand." But for Pete Harrod, he understands. Yes, he's got 2 lap pressure tyres, but I think it's a counterbalance here. Not only is it the dirty air effect, it's the fact that he is now having to deal with the damage properly here in the dirty air, and it is affecting the way he's going. Nice and tight, though, through the hairpin. Little wiggle as he tried to put the power down. Don't go too early here, Pete. You know that if you want to make the move on Kurt Crum, you can think about doing it right about now. But let's also remember here, Paul, he doesn't have to make the move. Championship rival isn't here.
Yeah, this is it. You know, think the long game here, Pete. It's so difficult. I mean, we can bring up the championship standings on the left here as we show them up on screen there. So, I mean, Timo Toika is another one who is fighting with us. Andrei Rajkovic has made a mistake. He's had a spin, and that's down at the hairpin. Another mistake for him, but you were seeing the championship standings there, and in fact, it wasn't a spin, it was a contact.
Yeah, that was Ray Griffin. That was the lap traffic who was just running very similar lap times, comes together, and right now for Ray Griffin, if he's got damage, he will be under a whole world of trouble. I think he's got away with it, has the 12, but my goodness me, Rajkovic will not be happy with the lap traffic, and I'm not sure main admin Mike Ouliette will be too happy with Ray Griffin in that incident either, Paul.
It's a little tricky for lap traffic. You don't want to affect other people's races, but at the same point, you know, you've got your own race to contend with. I mean, he's racing against Travis Henderson, so you can kind of see it as Joshua Wolf now has had an incident down at turn number 2, and I suspect it's going to be a little spin as we go down. Yeah, he's on his own here, down into turn 1. And he's just carried way too much speed through turn 1. 180. Oh, he's actually hit the tyres as well, so he's damaged his rear wing. And he took his fast repair at his last pit stop. So Joshua Wolf now has got to live with that damage for the rest of the race.
Does, you can see he is all over the curb through Degner 1 and sliding through Degner 2 as well. Josh Wolf, oh, this is not good for the Grizzly car. And it's just proof as actually, Rajkovic off again, and this time at the hairpin there, Paul. You caught a better eye of it than I did. It just seemed he outbroke himself.
Yeah, we'll have a look on board then. That's the exit of Degner 2, heading towards it's a tricky braking zone. We're going to be braking a little bit on the curve and just locks up that inside corner.
Oh, moves around again.
And yeah, I'm not surprised that moves around. He'll be dire with that rear wing damage.
Perfect pirouette, Paul.
I'll be amazed if he makes it around 130 hour at full speed, but we're going to keep an eye on him just to see the entertainment, see what happens here. Through 130 hour, oh, and it snapped. He's gone. That's it. He's out of the race with that one.
Oh, and Ricardo Orozco sees it, and, well, it was just the death bell tolling. And that is pretty much that for Josh Wolf. He just had a huge snap. The tyres all red and over, and he's just losing it. Bang! Big snap up into the tyres, up and over on the roll hoop, and straight across the circuit. Not much you can do about that. Josh Wolf's day is officially done, and that will hurt. But Ricardo Orozco at the front of the field, lap 27 of 53, the halfway stage pretty much scored complete here as he holds himself a 5.3 second advantage over Eneric Andre in second position. It's Manu Domingo who is currently in third position right now, with Timo Toika in fourth and Kurt Crum holding off Pete Harrod in fifth position as things stand. Let's take you then RaceSpotTV fan immersion just for a little bit. Good little 3-car scrap going on in the middle of the pack. This is Travis Henderson and Andres Sleesans. Let's go on board with Sleesans at the moment, because just in front of them is that lap traffic of Ray Griffin. few issues then that we just caught an eye on there as we keep an eye on Kurt Crumb's battle with Pete Harrod, and it was Travis Henderson who had himself a spin at the hairpin, which Harrod and co are heading through at the moment. Just a slide, catches the Armco slightly but is able to keep on going. But this battle for 5th position has title implications on it. Pete Harrod trying to narrow the damage limitation to Kurt Crumb here as they head through Spoon Corner, and it's a missed apex there by Pete Harrod in the number 21 Team Mad Car as he tries to get past Bombshells Kurt Crumb in the number 7, the Majors Indianapolis 500 winner, as they head through the left of 130R looking for the Casio Triangle. And Paul, we've just been keeping an eye on this one for the longest time. It's a battle that has not gone away, has not deteriorated, but one that just happens to make a mistake now. Kurt Crumb goes spread eagle sideways. Broadside allows Pete Harrod up into 5th place.
Yeah, let's get that up on replay then. Crumb it is. Watch him coming into the Casio Triangle. We've seen a few mistakes happen here. We saw Joshua Thompson earlier having a mistake here, and he's on the curb as he's getting the power down, and that's just unsettled the car just a little bit. That's kept him just 1 place lost, but it does mean that he's under the pressure from Marcus Niskanen now, who's got to the back of him. About a second between those two.
Yeah, about 1 second splits them at the moment. Lap traffic now beginning to be a factor for your leaders as well, as Ricardo Orozco, who leads this event, has led every lap so far in this event despite the 1 spin that he has had. He's got Travis Henson, who's about to put 2 laps down, then Andres Slisans, and then he'll be chasing down the likes of Mickey and Baker. That battle, that gap down to just a couple of seconds, and let's not forget that spin for Kurt Crumb has brought Marcus Niskanen back into play. Now a battle for 6th position.
Yeah, Niskanen, we thought that he was going to be a little bit impeded by that issues earlier on, but he's doing a good job now. Just keeping going forward, and he's got set sight on Kurt Crumb in front of him. We saw Crumb have that little half spin. What will happen this time around? We get to the stage where those tyres are starting to go a little bit off here. On lap 30 of this event, and drivers now just starting to feel a little bit uneasy on those tyres as they go across the line. Niskanen does have the DRS, but he's not close enough to make any move, but it does bring him closer to that driver of Kurt Crumb.
We've seen the 3-stop window open and close for the second stop. The 2-stop window, though, which I think everyone will be running, opens in about 4 laps' time. So that's what they'll be looking at, thinking and doing. Can I make this stop and get myself some nice run over to the line? The answer for the moment for a lot of drivers has been, well, my tyres have been horrible. I don't like it, as an Eric Andre dives down Andre Rajkovic and laps him for 1 lap. But this has been a struggle for a lot of drivers. This is not the sort of car, Paul, you can just jump in and drive, because it bites back. You talk about realism in sim racing. This is probably the hardest car on a commercial simulator that you will ever drive.
Yeah, that is for sure. It's such a complex car as well to drive. You've got to think of looking after your tyres. You've got quite a powerful 1.6 turbocharged engine that's got energy recovery system on it that provides extra horsepower through an electric motor generator unit as well. You've got a DRS system for when you're within 1 second of the car in front to give you that little bit of less drag down the straight when you're trying to overtake, to help aid that overtaking from the car in front. So really, you combine all of that and the torque that you get from a turbocharged engine as well, and it's just such a tricky car to handle. That's why a lot of these drivers will maybe go a little bit on the safe side with their setup. Here comes Niskanen down the inside of his teammate. Thank you very much. That was a coordinated move, we feel.
Yeah, you do feel that, because a lot of room was given by Kurt Crumb. He thought, well, okay, Niskanen's quicker than me at this stage. I might as well just let him go and let him run his own races just like that. Niskanen does not get what he wants. He is hard into the Tech Pro barrier, and that pretty much says that hurts for Marcus Niskanen, because he just lost it. Not much you can do into the tyres, then side on into the Tech Pro, which is never helpful, and has to take a tow.
bang! Head first into that foam barrier. It was a tyre barrier that he hit first, but he's done serious damage to that car, and in fact, he's taken a tour back to the pits here, so he's going to have to wait in a couple of minutes. That's going to drop him down, way down the order. We've got 8 cars on the lead lap at the moment, but the first few pit stops are going on. David H. Baker has made his second pit stop. Gabriel Ruse has made 2, he's made 2 pit stops because of damage. Those drivers, David H. Baker is the first one that's really made his second scheduled pit stop here.
Yes, he has, and that's going to be a good scheduled pit stop because he knows that he can get out, use the fresh rubber and get going. And not only that, the tyre drop-off is going to be a little bit less here as less and less fuel gets into the vehicle. That tyre saving gets easier and easier on the vehicle. So we're seeing less and less issues going on, but it has been less and less issues for Ricardo Orozco. Gap now up to 8.5 seconds, and it has just been that these front 4 are in 4 different realms of each other. They haven't had any battles to speak of really at all.
Oh, Timo Teucher.
Oh, no, not now.
Zegna's. This is the second Degner here. We'll get a replay up on the screen there. On board. And let's see what's happened. I just imagine there's going to have lost control on the exit of the second Degner. On the curb, onto the power. Oh, does he hit the wall just slightly? Not a lot of damage done to that car, but it has dropped him a ton of time in this one.
Well, there's the front wing, which looks crumpled up as anything. That Bushfink will not be happy, as Tesnauki will now have to come down in, surely you'd feel, and make the stop. Domingo now decides to make the early call, so he was 1 lap later than Eric Andre last time by. Domingo feels like he has to do something. He will come down early then for his second stop and look to try and get himself out and away once more, trying to close down 10 seconds. That screams out maybe 5, 6, 7 laps he wants advantage over an Eric Andre, but he knows he's not going to get that here. It's basically just a conservative race to the end now for Domingo, no mistakes.
21 laps remaining in this race, let's not forget here. So Domingo's got to go a long way on those tyres to make it to the end here on a 2-stop strategy. And we've seen how after about 15 laps, these drivers, all of them, and we can include Ricardo Orozco in this, have started to struggle with those tyres. So 21 laps on those tyres, okay. It's going to be a lot lighter car now than, say, the first part of the race, but still, it is a lot to put those tyres through, and it is rear tyre dependent around here, as Domingo already all over the back of Teucher, who's just struggling to stay on in front of him.
Well, you can see that damage, old tyres, fresh rubber for Manu Domingo, opens up around the hairpin, looking to put the power down in the Champs iRacing car. May have to do this one around the outside of 200 right, opening it up, thinking about the inside, middle of the road is blocked, defensive line taken there, but nothing you can do, Teemu Teucher. Manu Domingo just breezes by and makes sure that he takes the position. And what? Sorry?
Andre is in, and Eric Andre is in now.
Oh, so he is.
This is his second pit stop now, maybe reacting to what Manu Domingo has been doing here, as through 130R comes Domingo, but an Eric Andre already away. 4.1 second pit stop. You're talking about 28.5 seconds lost down pit road, but he's away, and there's a comfortable margin over Domingo.
Yeah, and now that allows Ricardo Orozco the opportunity to come down in and make the stop. Just cover off the move and get himself back out and going again. Lap 35 will come into play with 18 laps remaining here at Suzuka once he crosses the start for 19 laps when he crosses the start finish line. He's just behind Eric Mickey as well, so with a bit of lap traffic in front, that could be the perfect signal here, Paul, to come down onto the lane, because you don't really want to be having any added pressure, not added pressure, but add any more risk to your race.
Well, I'm trying to show you the map for where the drivers are on track, and as you can see, exit the chicane there for Orozco, into pit lane there for him, as second place man is just coming around Spoon now, so that shows you the difference between the two of them. But yeah, your leader onto pit road as well. Markus Niskanen back on pit road. He had actually left pit road, but he's back on pit road now. So Niskanen obviously not happy with that car after having to take the tow, but here's your leader. Down pit road at the moment. Stops, up on the jacks, down from the jacks, 4.7 seconds, so he didn't quite get it perfectly into his pit stall, but away he goes then, and Rajkovic is also down for his pit stop from 12th place.
Yes, he is. There's an Eric Andre out, and just looking at him getting out, Orozco. I was saying Orozco's out and away. I was looking at an Eric Andre and thinking, okay, well, he is out in terms of gap by a good 10 seconds at this stage. So an Eric Andre needing a bit of help. Rajkovic close with Niskanen coming out of pit road. So maybe Niskanen speeding on pit entry, maybe something as Toika comes down in to make his stop. And the front wing will be changed at this one, probably with the fast repair.
Yeah, you would think so, as a new fastest lap for Mano Domingo, 34.267 for him. And, yep, fast repair used by Timo Toika. And that's out and away once again for him. But, yeah, Mano Domingo showing what these new tyres can do with the lighter fuel load. Those times are coming down here. And you would imagine that Orozco, not this lap, but next lap, will be trying something comparative to that.
Yep, certainly will be trying something comparative, and well, it seems that Mano Domingo is going for the moral victory, you could say, at this stage. If you can't get the race win, you go for the fastest lap, it seems, Paul.
Yeah, why not? It's a little bit of bragging rights as we look at P5, Kurt Krum and Timo Toika. Toika just out the pits, and Krum on lap 19 of those tyres, so very old tyres here. But he can make his pit stop because we've got 19 laps to go in this one. And he will be good to the end with Kurt Krum. But Toika, it's going to be a matter of time before he gets past here.
Well, here is the time, because he's going to angle to the outside. There's just enough room being given as he dives it down to the inside, makes it stick just there on the outside curb and get past. So Timo Toika with a very accomplished move there on the struggling Kurt Krum.
We've had a spin. Eric Mickey down at the hairpin. We'll get a look at this on replays. Pete Harrod now, championship leader for the European split, comes onto pit road, but this is Mickey. Oh, and he just locked up those rears going into the hairpin there. Gets it going, and away he goes again. That's a nightmare for him.
Yeah, a nice kick of the tail, though, as he went through that corner. That's not going to be helping anything at all as the marks get left on the iRacing Dynamic track on the outside of the corner. And that's something as well that will be hurting drivers. The fact that this track is dynamic. It is a breathing track. It does get hotter and colder with the amount of vehicles that run on it, but not as much as it maybe would do for other races, mainly because we have so many vehicles that have struggled here today. And it is quite telling, actually, just how rubbered in the surface is already.
I tell you what, just something I've noticed there. Pete Harrod has made his pit stop. He's in 6th place, but crucially, his pit stop was 8.4 seconds. He's not used his fast repair to get his front wing replaced. In terms of the championship, it's Ricardo Orozco, a 33.653. Thank you very much. Fastest lap? What fastest lap? As Orozco says that. But it's crucial, I think. That's really good planning from your championship leader, because he's keeping that fast repair in the bank there just in case he does make a mistake towards the end of this race.
Exactly, and that's some very, very clever management, taking the automatic fast repair. It may just be the other way around here, Paul, and that sometimes you can accidentally take the fast repair anyway.
You can do, but to be honest, when you've got drivers who are competing in the championship, who are in the lead of the championship, they're ones who have checked that off already, and I know he's got a spotter working for him as well today as Pete Harrod. I believe it's Dave Croce, the team boss of Team Mad, so they'll have double checked that before each stop to make sure they don't accidentally take it in the pit stop, as Diogo Jimenez now onto pit road.
He is the 5-1-0, pitting in on lap 37, so late for his second stop of the day. But really nothing that is too worrying. We'll see where he comes out in comparison, because he's got a large gap to those that he's got to deal with. In comes Slee-Sands, outstays Travis Henderson. There's Ricardo Orozco looking to get going, but out and away then will come Diego Jimenez on to the next part of his event, the final stretch, and he is out and he is behind your race leader. So that puts him ahead of David H. Baker, crucially. So that is 8th position at the moment. And I think he'll take that. Well, actually, I'd say a little bit higher, 7th, because Slisant has come down in and made his stop.
Yes, Slisant's also, as you say, making that pit stop. I think the timing app has gone a little bit awry there, because it says, well, let's have a look at the pit stop time, and it says 0.7 seconds. I don't think it was quite that quick for him, but away he goes again. I think it'd be more along the lines of 4 seconds for Slisant, but yeah, he's away. He is now 8 seconds behind Eric Mickey, who's in 9th place.
That's a shame. We could have given him the DHL Fastest Pit Stop Award.
We would do if the DHL sponsored this series.
Yes,
David
we would.
Baker is off at the hairpin.
Oh no, David Baker has his own little moment. And, well, he's done well. He had a bit of pressure behind him, actually. That was an Eric Andre trying to lap him. There was no contact between the pair of them. But David H. Baker getting a bit of red helmet syndrome in that scenario there. A little bit scared with the faster driver of Andre behind him. It just runs it off the track. Probably safe there, but not ideal.
To be honest, I think he'd rather have kept it on the track there, but still, he's keeping going. He's in that 8th place at the moment, and he has got 3.5 seconds over Eric Mickey at the moment as David Baker. Closest battle on track, actually, is one further down the order, 11th and 12th place. That's Reykjavik and Gabriel Ruse as they head towards 130R. Less than a second between the two of them. So these two, even though they're further down the order, still giving it a good fight.
They are giving it a good fight on the brakes into the Casio triangle. 137 flat last time for Reykjavik, who's maybe a little bit narrow coming out to the exit, but still able to get great application of power. We saw how Gabriel Roos was challenging the likes of Kurt Crum coming out of the pits just earlier on in this event. So here on their 38th lap of the event through turn 2, no chance to make the move yet for Gabriel Roos, but he's trying to set up an opportunity now to make a move. He wants to try and get a chance to make this happen, but you can see just how much more confident he is through the corners, just able to run just a little bit tighter than Andre Reykjavik is. You can see over the curb at Dunlop where Reykjavik wasn't.
Yeah, absolutely. 2 lap younger tyres for Ruse. So he's giving it a good go here through the second deck, though. Gets a big twitch there. And well held to keep that one going in a straight line, Gabriel, and to keep within a second of Reykjavik in front.
Yeah, very accomplished on the brakes, and there for Andre Reykjavik, he knows even if his driver behind is making mistakes, he's still got to go out there and deliver a good performance, which has been, I guess, some of the issues that we have seen. We got ourselves 14 laps remaining here at Suzuka. Race currently being led by Ricardo Orozco for University Isabel, the first positive sim racing. The Brazilian has a 10-second advantage over the Frenchman and Eric Andre for Race Clutch and their road to 2020. And I find that so interesting what Race Clutch are doing with their road to 2020, Paul, because their goal by, let's say, end of next year is to have their entire team fully financed as a professional esports team.
And that's a great thing for them to look at as Ruse makes his way past Reykjavik up into 11th place. But it's a really good target to have for that team to be able to push and to try and get to the point where they're going to have it fully financed, plenty of sponsorship space available. So if anybody does want to sponsor them, hey, get on contact with the team there, because it'd be great to see more teams like them to get fully financed and to be fully professional as well.
Not only that, they'll be pushing for more efforts in the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series, more than the 2 drivers that they have already. I've spoken a lot with team boss Richard Arnaud. He knows exactly what he wants, and he wants to be able to deliver that as much as possible. It has been some quiet racing, though, for the likes of Manu Domingo in 3rd position. He's been a little bit quiet, has always been on the cusp of being a World Championship driver. He has been a World Championship driver in the past. Haven't seen him at that level for the last 2 years, but wants to probably come back. And with Champs iRacing, probably a charge with Victor Prato, I think that Champs want to get back to the dance and want to prove their worth once more for Spanish sim racing.
Yeah, they certainly do, and it's such a wealth of talent down in the Iberian area, down in Spain, down in Portugal, and sim racing is such a following down there. So it's great. Yeah, it'd be great to see that team to be able to move up and to challenge some more. And really, one of the hotbeds of talent in the world of sim racing is that Iberian region. So definitely, Champs iRacing trying to progress forward and trying to push forward and to challenge the names that we're so accustomed to seeing now in the World Championships.
Yes, we are. The likes of the VRS Coanda Sim Sports, the likes of Apex, Team Redline, G2 Esports. They're all there. They're all proving themselves. They all can be up there at that level, but it's the case of can you hang, and that big battle for competition for spaces is what so many people want to be seeing. But for the moment, at least, it seems that we just hit that little bit of a lull in the race here, Paul, where everyone's just got their own gaps, everyone's concentrating on their own races, and right now, I think this is just the biggest epitome of what this race is. The difference between just picking up this car and trying to get used to it and having years and years of experience is being showcased from top to bottom. 2 laps difference between those at the front of the field and those at the back.
Yeah, it's a bit fair to those at the back that they have been involved in incidents as well. I'm just having a look at this. You've got David Baker versus Eric Mickey. That's closing up. That's going to be your closest battle on track at the moment, so we'll keep an eye on that one. But one thing of note here, and I think it says a lot about how this series runs, is the fact that we've only got 2 retirements from the actual race, and we have 1 non-starter as well. So definitely really good to see the level of competition staying on board and staying here. 15 cars still running in this event here.
And Jack Styles, who we were talking to before this event, was like, I reckon that maybe half of the drivers will be there by the end of the race. And no, they haven't. They've been really well behaved. They've respected their limits here in the majors, and they are some of the best behaved when it comes to lap traffic. And I will note that down as well. They have been strong. There has been contact, but they've done really well to keep that to a minimum as they've battled. Eric Mickey definitely closing down. It's a second a lap at this stage, Paul.
Certainly is. Eric Mickey, we're just looking at him. Second between the 2 of them. Coming in towards where they are. Through the right-hander, no lift. Keep it flat out. Flat chatters down towards the Casio triangle once again. His tyres though, looking at the stint length, so David H. Baker was one of the earliest pit stops in this race. He's on 11 lap old tyres compared to Eric Mickey on 6 lap old tyres. So that is starting to come into play as we hit 11 laps to go in this race. This event has just flown by today.
It has done, and of course, it's only around an hour and a half that you'd find. You normally see races like the World 600, for example, go on for around 3-4 hours. The likes of the Majors Indianapolis 500 going a good 2.5-3 hours. So it is refreshing to have an hour and a half race. We had a short race as well at Knoxville. Of course, that one was over and done with within 2 hours. So definitely one of the shorter races in terms of majors calendar. Of course, any race in a Formula 1 car is a very long race indeed as they head themselves through that big hairpin Kobayashi corner, as it's often christened, and now to 200 right in the run towards Spoon. For Mickey, it has been a very solid drive. Started 17th, looking for 8th position right now. David H. Baker the same. These are drivers who started at the back of the field today, and they have kept themselves out of trouble and made sure they get a respectable result whilst others fell and ran into issues around them. They've done that to a perfection, Paul, and now they get to fight for some very strong points.
Yeah, absolutely. David Baker up 10 positions, Eric Mickey up 8 in this race, and they've really been showing what they can do here is Baker runs wide at the chicane there. We're looking at the gainers and losers. Not many losers here, to be honest, but the battle here for 8th place down the straight. DRS open. I imagine this is going to be done into turn 1. Yes, it is.
It is. That was lifted out by David H. Baker. Even though Eric Mickey was saving ERS, it was a firm lift off of the throttle from a certain Mr. David H. Baker. And the move was completed by Eric Mickey. And I wonder, for the team's championship, if that was the right decision. Of course, both teams can't afford to have drivers not finish this one, Paul. But at the same time, surely Grizzly should have been fighting hard for that position because every point matters.
It does. It's like you say, points make prizes, and every point does count. And just bring those championship standings back up again on the side of your screen here, because you look at this. David H. Baker, 5th place at the moment in that European standings. He's in a good spot here though to still score some solid points. And really, the only people that he's battling against in the championship, Kurt Crum is 7th place in the championship, wasn't actually that many points behind, so you imagine that Crum's going to jump in the championship. But definitely, looking at that, Toika and Parrot is the ones that you really, along with Niskanen, should I say, been a disaster for Niskanen. He was battling for the championship, but he was 100 points behind Pete Harrod. In fact, David Baker is in the pit lane. He's spun it.
Wow. And I think he's got to do the Austin Powers.
Yeah.
He's got to do the 1,000,000 point turn to get himself back and going. Well, you don't laugh at misery, but my word, David H. Baker, that is not the spin you want. You couldn't do that 1,000,000 times if you tried it, Paul. I'll tell you that now. It's so difficult to get a slide like that to go down pit road. He's lucky that he has. And just looking at what he was able to do out of the final corner, looking to put the power down, it snaps down the hill. He gets a big slam into the retaining wall. And oh, Austin Powers, hello.
I stuck with that all the way through the Austin Powers part as well. So yeah, big impact with that tyre wall at the end of the pit wall. That's a disaster for David H. Baker, but he has got a fast repair, so he's been able to get that done. Get out once again in 12th place now though. You look at that, he was up in 9th place, so it's dropped him 3 spots there.
It has, and David H. Baker now finds himself very, very firmly behind a few drivers he doesn't want to be. Andre Rajkovic is one of them, so down to 12th place. Oh, David H. Baker. That's been the day for Grizzly Motorsports, though, Paul. It's been not their vehicle, not their drive, and they haven't been able to keep it on the island. That's why their vehicles are 12th, 15th, and 16th right now. Yeah, absolutely. I will say one thing. If you're going to have an accident, do it at the end of the pit lane, because then you're straight down the pit road and getting your repairs done. But yeah, it's been a bit of a nightmare for Grizzly Motorsports, and outside of the top 10 for the 3 of them. To be fair to David, he was in the top 10 before that spin. He was giving it a good go, but just not able to compete against the top guys of Orozco, Andre and Domingo. In fact, Domingo's had a spin, and that's down at, is that down at Dunlop? It is, and that's a big spin as well. He has pancaked the wall as I try and get myself ready for a replay of it as he heads himself through. He gets himself through the left-hander, and just looking at what he's trying to do, there's a small bump there that really hurts. He does well to save it from one wall, but as it snaps away, and that's the Jurgis bump, he just absolutely pancakes the wall head on. He's had to take a tow as well. And that's pretty much going to change the whole complexity of this one. It will promote everybody up a position. Toika to 3rd, Harrod to 4th. So technically this helps out Teemu Toika more than it does Pete Harrod, because Toika takes points away from Harrod. Yeah, but I think Harrod will be comfortable being behind his championship rival, to be honest. I think he'd be happy with that. He was a second faster on that last lap as well as Harrod. So, you know, he's got the pace there. Okay, he's not up there with him challenging for that podium, but I still think he'd be happy with getting a good 4th place here, considering where he started, down in 9th place. Oh yeah, Yes, you're absolutely right here, Paul. Pete Howard starting ninth, now up into fourth position. Domingo will take a long while here for that tow, a good 2 minutes at least to get himself into racing position. So that one going to hurt him just a little bit, and that will be disappointing for Domingo's race. It was a solid race, and let's be clear, he did that all on his own. He had 40 seconds to Teemu Toika. That's just a lapse in concentration.
And it can be that way, that if you are on your own, it's so difficult to keep concentration in a race because it's so easy to make that mistake, and that's exactly what happened. And we saw how easy it was to make that mistake because Ricardo Orozco made pretty much the same mistake at Dunlop as well. So it's not out of the realms of possibility, and that's exactly what's happened. 7 laps to go in this race, though. I can't believe we've got this far on so already. In fact, 6 laps to go now. Yep,
6 laps to go here at Suzuka. Just another 33 kilometers worth of racing to go for Ricardo Orozco et al., as he has been, apart from one mistake, pretty much faultless so far in this event. It has been a race of attrition. It has been one which has seen quite a few mistakes being made, but of course a lot of these drivers are not suited to this MP430. This is the toughest car in sim racing to drive, and if you can manage this car, then my goodness, do you have my respect with your abilities to be able to drive this. But it's tough. It has been tough, but there have been some big winners coming out of driving this vehicle. So the likes of Eric Mickey now up into 7th position. Sleesans into 8th. Roos now in 9th. And still we see the likes of David H. Baker, who will be promoted now up into probably 11th position as well. So we've seen incident, we've seen the heartache, but we have seen some pretty good battling, Paul. It has to be said, they have left everything on the table here in this event.
I'll tell you somebody else who hasn't left everything on the table yet. It's Gabriel Roos. He's looking forward to Sleesans into the Degners now, and he's within a second here. So Roos is giving it a good go here, and he wants the 8th place in this race.
It was 1.6 seconds quicker that last time by. Gabriel Roos is absolutely storming his way towards Sleesans, going, you know, that 7th, you know, that 8th place? Yeah, I think it's mine. So he thinks about this one, and he's pulled that gap right in through Spoon and 130R and such, but you can see just how much more confident, Paul, he is on the brakes, and that is so telling, how he is able just to close that gap to the 292, and that 292 does not have much that he can fight back with at this stage, not with Gabriel Roos driving the way he is.
Absolutely, there's a mistake from Sleesans there, running wide from the first part of the Casio Triangle, and this is where you're going to see the DRS come into effect, the ARS, and do you know what, Sleesans letting him through here.
He is. He's playing the smart game here, Paul. He's been playing it all day long. He doesn't want to battle anyone. I'll just let you go, and I'll just finish my race my way. And he will do exactly that then at this stage. Manu Domingo's out on circuit. Andrej Rajkovic's just had a moment, actually, heading through the triangle. He got on the brakes. He missed his point. And, well, he went down the Ayrton Senna line and managed to drag it on back. So has done very well there, has Rajkovic, to keep that together in 10th position at the moment. Manu Domingo, by the way, is officially classified as out of this event. He has retired the car. So 5 laps to go. Now going to turn towards 4 laps to go here, Paul, as Ricardo Orozco sets on for lap 50 of 53.
Yeah, and he's looking imperious here, out at the front. Compare his gap there, 13.6 seconds. Is the gap on here? We're looking at the lap times, 0.4 and then 0.5 of a second. The last 3 laps faster than an Eric Andre. So Andre just doing the good job of finishing this car out in that second place. It's going to be good for an Eric. But Ricardo Orozco, great drive from him to be up here and to be challenging out front, completely on his own here, though, is Orozco into the hairpin once again. We're sticking with him at the moment as we're heading in towards the 200R. You see the MotoGP chicane there on the inside pushing it through the left-hander here, Jake, as he heads on down towards Woodbury.
Grizzly's day goes from bad to worse. Travis Henderson has hit the wall coming out of Spoon, and it was a very hefty impact as well. As he got through the second half of Spoon, he didn't get the curb on the inside. The back started to step out, went to correct, overcorrected. The vehicle snaps, and hard into the wall goes Travis Henderson, who now moves himself onto pit road. It's a shame to see, but the 24, I think, has had one too many hits so far in this event. That might just be day and done for Travis Henderson. But 3 laps to go now here at the circuit of Suzuka. And Marcus Niskanen now will unlap himself on Andres Slisans. As Slisans now, I think, has just about enough of a gap here to Andrei Rajkovic. Just going for the patience game in the latter stages. But there have been some pretty solid drives here today, and I think underrated has been Teemu Toikkas. Yes, he's had that one bit of contact, but he has been able just to keep it calm apart from that. And, you know, I would take a minute back from Ricardo Orozco, a world championship level driver.
Yeah, I would say that as well, especially after, as you say, that little bit of contact just slowed him down. I'm just wondering with Slisans, has he got damage here, or is he having to fuel save? Because his lap times, that was a 1 minute 40.4. I think he's having a fuel save here. He's got 3 laps to go.
But he does. Well, in fact, he is lap traffic, so he's got himself maybe even a little bit less than that if he is careful. So definitely trying to make this race last is Slisans, as he is just trying to have a calm race here. Roscoe, though, will start the popsicle sticks in the air. 2 laps to go here, but really, Rajkovic, 38.5, compare it to the 140.4. I think Andres Slisans is on that fuel save. I think he's calculated this one wrong here, Paul.
Yeah, I'm just sat on board with it at the moment. You can hear him. He's not using all the revs. He's changing early. He's getting off the throttle. He's lifting and coasting a lot. He's using different gears than what he normally would do through corners. So definitely, he's on the fuel save mode here. He's really struggling. And Andrei Rajkovic, who's behind, not really gaining on him though. So Slisans possibly should be safe for the end of this race. But as you say, 2 laps to go for Orozco through Dunlop into the Degners. This is where you can end up making a mistake, but from a world championship driver, that's not going to be very likely.
Well, we've already seen one, but he got away with it at the corner which Eric Andre's just gone through, which is the Jurgis bump there at this left-hander Dunlop. So very much so, it has been a race of attrition factors. It has been a struggle for certain drivers. As I look at Slisans' time, it's a 1:39.2, so he has upped the pace just a little bit more, so he will be just that little bit safer with his 2 laps that remain. But for the time being, at least, it has been a lap or a race which has been dominated by one driver and one driver only. And for the final lap, we'll take you on board with what he has been able to do. Number 68, University Isabel I, Positive Sim Racing. Ricardo Orozco starts the 53rd lap of 53 in the European Majors race here at Suzuka. From here, 2 rounds remain. 1, we head to a land down under. We head to Bathurst for a Bathurst 500, which will promise to be a fantastic event. If anything, if you watched on the iRacing Esports Network the V8 Scops Bathurst 1000, you will understand why Bathurst races can be beautiful for enduros. When you see right now Orozco heading through Dunlop, he's been having this fantastic little run, and he's been doing so well through the Degners, right and right again. Rusto is close to Eric Mickey. This is the battle though for 7th position as they hit the final lap. Gabriel Roos 35.7 last time by 37.1 for Eric Mickey, so even faster, 35.5. I think Gabriel Roos will have a chance to go and make a move then on this final lap for 7th position. Do a little bit of a dent to the damages of Bombshell, and that is going to hurt through the S's section for the final time that they will run 1 lap earlier than others. But to Ricardo Orozco, who makes his way now past the west pit entrance, looking over the top of the track to 130R. Apart from one small spin, it has been near perfection for the Brazilian. He wasn't having the best results yesterday, but today he can take a bit of champagne, he can smile, and he can say Ricardo Orozco wins here at Suzuka, and he takes it by a comfortable margin over an Eric Andre. The gap as he crosses the line will be a very, very firm 12 seconds when all is said and done, as Roos goes down the inside at Spoon, takes the position away from Eric Mickey, but Mickey can get the power back down and try and fight this one back to 130R, and will go side by side, trying to use anything that he's had left, but backs out of it then, can't quite get the move. How brave do you dare be on the brakes with old tyres? The answer is try to brake as late as possible. Didn't quite work. Good little scrap between them to the end. There's a mistake and a spin for Roos, and the pressure pays off, and Mickey holds on pole.
Certainly does that. Great battle between those two right to the end there, and those guys should be very happy with how they've done here in this event today. Final few drivers coming through. Timo Toika coming to finish in third place across the line then, so great work from him to end up there in this race. So good stuff from these drivers today, and not too many mistakes, and it's been thoroughly enjoyable. I've enjoyed this race, that's for sure.
Well, that's awesome to hear. Pete Howard, the championship leader, finishes home in 4th position then and does a great job, and with pretty much everybody over the line. Official classified results then here from Suzuka are as follows. Ricardo Orozco, we could say Alonso at this stage, the way that he dominated this race, takes the victory, does Orozco, by 12.3 seconds in the end over an Eric Andre, even with a spin. Timo Toika comes home in third, a minute and 12 back, with Pete Harrod, the championship leader, having a solid drive home to 4th position. Kurt Crum finishes a quiet 5th with Diego Jimenez in 6th. Eric Mickey survives the gauntlet of Gabriel Roos to come home in 7th, with Roos in 8th. Andres Sliessans finishes 9th, with Andrei Rajkovic finishing out the top 10. David H. Baker was the last of the vehicles, 1 lap down. Only 4 vehicles managed to finish on the leading lap. 2 laps down was Ray Griffio and Marcus Niskanen. And then we had those who failed to finish this one. Travis Henderson, Manu Domingo, Joshua Wolf, Josh Thompson, and Victor Preto failed to make the start. We're going to step aside very briefly, though, here on RaceSpotTV, because when we come back, it's the post-race show coming to you after this.
Assist to the front bumper, and he hits him again now. Ray Alfala into the outside wall.
He's going to pass nearly 3 cars down that front straightaway, and he's going to get them all done with. What amazing
Race lead to the inside goes Logan Cloudman is going to touch in. Pit press sideways. What a save.
Look to the outside as Tronke goes off. De Jong into 2nd place.
Going for the switchback. Oh, pinpoint driving.
It's howling down to the inside.
He's trying this contact, though. Slide left to the racetrack. Chris Leonard drives it back down underneath, and he takes that 2nd spot right back. Joker goes to Garrett Lowe.
Garrett Lowe should take victory with all that contact.
He's going to try and make the move around the outside the parabolica. That's not going to work, but he's going to try and get the cut back here. Get the run out the parabolica. That's beautifully done there. Michael Schumacher, there's a little bit of door banging as well.
The toughest vehicle in sim racing, one of the most iconic tracks in motorsport, and one very, very talented driver winning a race in almost relative ease. It wasn't perfect, it wasn't plain sailing, but when you have a black stripe, when you have a pro stripe on iRacing, you are held accountable to a standard higher than a lot others. It's a race victory for Ricardo Orozco, who joins us now in the commentary booth. Ricardo, that was supposed to be a plain sailing race. It would be in the end, but one small blip on the action that we would say was for you was a small little spin that we caught.
Yeah, what's up, Jake? Hello, guys. Yeah, it's a good race. It was a good race. I think it was a clean race from everyone. Got a good start. From there on, I thought it was a big battle for second, so I managed to open the gap. Then Suzuka with this new tires, it's been tricky yesterday at the WCS race. It caught some guys also, so yeah, I was lucky there at the spin, and then I had a second moment closer to the end. But yeah, overall it was a good race, good practice, I would say. I still have a gap to be joining the top 5 and top 10s in the WCS, so I'll get every practice that I can get. So yeah, happy with the result. Yeah.
And we would say, what would be the battle that you have, say, in terms of your World Championship efforts? We talk about how it's your first year in the World Championship. We talk about how it is always a development process for new drivers to get up to speed, to get to the levels of, say, the Kroenkes, the de Jongs, the Hutus, etc. Tal. For you as a driver and the efforts that are put in by the likes of Javier Alvarez and so many others behind the scenes at Positive Sim Racing, just how important is the team? How important has the preparations been, the likes of the setup work? How important has Positive Sim Racing been to the development of you as a driver?
No, it's huge. I would say that perhaps one of the biggest differences you feel when you join a World Championship, that's extremely mental, I would say, and you need to be really, really well prepared mentally. I know we all feel that the setup's going to make miracles and so on, but at the end, what you need to do and to have is a very strong mind and to be extremely focused. So you only have a couple of attempts to do a Q lap. You cannot make any mistakes on the race day. And for me, I would say that I think I DNF'd the first 2 or 3 rounds. Mainly, I think it was mistakes from my part as well. So just, trying to stay calm and do your race and try to progress and get the results and try to keep the license, and then hopefully you improve a little bit more. And it's a long way. I mean, the gap is huge. WCS is a huge pool of talent. So yeah, it's and to have a team behind, the guys can support you and they can keep you, motivated. And when you have a bad race, they keep you up. And yeah, that's a very important thing.
Always very important. I doubt we'll see you again in the major series for the final 2 rounds of the championship. I'm not sure V8s and street stocks are your cup of tea, shall we say. But next week, it's the third of 3 back-to-backs at Spa-Francorchamps for the World Championship. Just how has preparations been? I know that Daniel Bieder has been on his honeymoon, and we congratulate him very much for his marriage. But for you yourself, 3 races back-to-back-to-back. Would you say that it's a case of it's very tiring, it's very challenging, but the momentum that it generates is something that is massive for Positive Sim Racing?
Yeah, it's a big challenge, especially for me. My personal life, my work life has been crazy these past few weeks. September, October are the worst weeks of the year for me. So what I did is that we had a couple of big breaks between Imola and in Indianapolis, I think. I tried to prepare in advance, but then I racing through a couple of changes to the car, so we need to keep working. And yeah, I'll try to do my best to try to prepare as I always do. And my goal this year is just to retain the license anyways. So I think I'm close to it, so I'll keep working.
Well, the floor is yours. Shout out sponsors. Who gets it done for you and the guys at Positive?
No, first of all, thanks to you guys for broadcasting and organizing the race. Of course, thanks to Positive Sim Racing, our main sponsor, University Isabel I, and all the teammates, and yeah, everyone that watched it. Thanks for being here. Thank you, guys.
No worries at all. Ricardo Orozco then coming home with the race victory here this afternoon. Paul, I believe you found a certain David Crozier.
Well, yeah, he's he's the media representative for Pete Harrod, because Pete is a little shy. He doesn't like doing interviews. But anyway, Dave Crozier, team manager at Team Mad. How was that race from your point of view? You were spotting for Pete. How did it go today?
Far better than we actually expected it to go. We were aiming for a finish, as you kind of spotted with them not using the fast repair to repair the wing. But to get fourth is, and only one place behind Timu, who drove brilliantly as well, is really quite good.
And when you think, looking at the level of competition that you were going up against, the likes of Ricardo Orozco and Eric Andre, Timu Toika, Josh Thompson as well, Manu Domingo, people like that, to be able to finish fourth in that event. I mean, Pete, he's not had much experience in the car, has he?
No, it's a brand new car to all of us. It's got more buttons than my keyboard, but actually, this series as a whole has shown Pete's talent, I find, in a range of cars, and considering majority know him from racing the Kia, he's not doing bad for a touring car driver.
well, this is it. He came into the championship leading the championship and battling with Timu. Going into the final 2 rounds, touring car next. It's a V8 supercar at Bathurst. How do you think it'll go around there for the 500, the half-length Bathurst race?
It's difficult in itself, isn't it? It's some people go well around there. V8 supercars are a spicy car, shall we say? I think he's already started practicing or looking into practicing there, and I believe he's getting some assistance from an Australian, which might help.
What, just a random Australian, not somebody who's actually good in the car?
Well, he drives for another team, doesn't he? But yeah, I think Jake's going to give him a bit of a hand with it. So, but again, Pete has the benefit of a championship lead. It's up to others to catch him. Obviously, you've still got to finish the races, but the pressure's on others more than him, which, much like the day we turned the boost down not long after the second stop to make the car just a bit safer, in the hope that he had a bit of a go at team, for catching team. Yeah, the V8 supercar is another car that we're not overly familiar with. We've done a bit with the super trucks, the socks out racing, but yeah, we've tried all sorts this year and they all seem to be working out not so bad. So,
well, anyway, before we let you go then, Dave, anyone you want to give a quick mention to, a quick thanks to?
Well, Pete for a sublime drive today. We've then, Team Mad's now a Fanatec affiliate, so we'll mention them. There's quite a big name broadcaster with Smile Time Productions who help us out with our media, Calder Rescue, the Motorsport Rescue, and Phoenix Racing at Coventry University.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Dave, and all the best for give our thanks to Pete for giving us a good race today.
Will do. Thank you, boys. Cheers.
Well, that is that then from David Crozier, the media representative for Pete Harrod, because you've got to be a superstar at some stage, at some point. But unfortunately, that calls time on our proceedings here at the wonderful circuit known as Suzuka. But there is more action going on. Going on right now, this very second, is the Sports Car Open 8 hours of Spa-Francorchamps. We got to keep an eye on that one, as well as the Classic IndyCar Series, which will be coming to you from classic Silverstone. Make sure you join Jack Styles and Nolan Rempel for that one. But, of course, there's a lot of people who get it done for us. Firstly, to And Vern Designs, the official graphics partners here at RaceSpotTV, as well as ATVO and AppGeneer, the official graphics engine that you find at RaceSpotTV. The animations are done by Simon Grossman. The live timing and scoring, we didn't have that available for us here today. You can still use that for the Sports Car Open, though. That's thanks to Nick Disson, as well as our camera packs done by TrackCams22 and Istvan Ballo. Make sure that you check out all the work that he's done. Not only do we have the two aforementioned series, we have ourselves as well McLaren Shadow Project as well. Make sure that you check out the racing action that we have there. But that's Paul Smith, and I'm Jake Sperry, and I'm here saying that although it has been a masterclass by Ricardo Orozco, and he has shown the field what it takes to be a pro driver in World Championships, there are a few drivers there who went, you know what? We gave it a good go, and we finished pretty close. And I think a lot will be happy as they go from Suzuka and the toughest car to arguably the mountain and one of the toughest tracks in the world. We'll see you all very soon for the Bathurst 500.